The prisoner from the stars. The sky above Nevada was calm, clear blue with no clouds. But then, everything changed. Without warning, a strange object shot across the sky like a falling star. It was not a meteor. It was a metal capsule, long and black, leaving a trail of smoke behind. It crashed into the desert with a loud boom, shaking the ground for miles. Military radars caught it instantly. Within minutes, helicopters and trucks surrounded the crash site. Soldiers stood in a circle with their guns ready. No one knew what was inside. Commander Jake Hunter arrived at the scene. A tall man in his late 30s, sharp eyes, strong voice. He had served in many wars, but this was new even for him. Open it, Jake said calmly. Engineers walked forward and unlocked the capsule with special tools. Steam hissed out from the sides. As the doors slowly opened, the soldiers held their breath. Inside was a woman, an alien woman. She was tall, with silver skin and strange armor that looked like it came from another world. Her face had sharp lines, her eyes were glowing faint blue, but she was injured, blood on her shoulder, chains around her hands and feet. One soldier whispered, "Is she dead?" But then her eyes opened. She looked at Jake. She didn't speak. She just stared, calm, proud, and full of pain. The soldiers aimed their weapons. Jake raised his hand. "No one fires unless I say." Later that night, in the military base, the alien was kept inside a glass prison cell. Scientists ran tests. Soldiers watched her from behind screens. No one knew who she was or where she came from. Jake stood outside her cell, watching silently. A group of alien officials arrived from the Galactic Union humanoid, dressed in silver suits, cold and formal. They introduced themselves as peacekeepers. "From space. That woman," said the lead officer, "is a criminal. Her name is Zara. She was part of the Villari army. She is dangerous. She must be returned for execution." Jake didn't speak. He just looked back at the cell. Zara sat inside, hands chained, head low. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. Something didn't feel right. He had seen killers before. He had fought monsters. But Zara didn't look like a killer. She looked lost, hurt, and something deep inside Jake told him she was not evil. He went to the cell again. Alone, Zara looked up when she saw him. He spoke slowly. "Why are you here?" She didn't answer. He tried again. "Did you come to harm us?" She stood up and walked to the glass wall. Her voice was soft but firm. "I did not come to harm Earth. I came to save it." Jake frowned. "Save us from who?" "From the Union," she said. "They are not peacekeepers. They are liars, conquerors." Jake shook his head. "You expect me to believe that?" Zara touched the glass. "I found out the Union plans to take Earth. Quietly. Your leaders will never know. I tried to warn people. They called me a traitor. They hunted me. Why should I trust you?" Jake asked. She looked him straight in the eye. "Because I had a choice. I could have let your world burn. But I didn't." Jake walked away. He didn't believe her. Not fully. But he didn't walk far. He stood in the hallway thinking, what if she was telling the truth? Suddenly, alarms rang through the base. A soldier ran up. "Sir, the Union officers are demanding immediate handover. They say execution starts in 1 hour. Jake stood still. His mind raced. Everything was moving too fast. He looked at the cell one last time. Zara sat down again, silent, waiting. Jake whispered to himself, "She doesn't look like a villain." In the next hour, he walked into the secure room again. Only one guard was there. "Go take a break," Jake ordered. The guard left. Jake stood in front of the control panel. His hand hovered over the release button. One press and the doors would open. One press, and he would become a criminal in the eyes of the world. But something inside told him, this is right. He pressed the button. The glass door opened with a soft hiss. Zara stood up. Jake tossed her a small bag. Medical kit, food, and a map. We need to go. Now, Zara looked surprised. Why? Jake looked serious. Because I think I just became a traitor. Traitor of Earthstart, unique hook, suspense plus action. The alarm was screaming. Red lights flashed across the military base. Doors locked, soldiers shouted orders, and helicopters prepared to take off. But Jake Hunter was running the other way. He wasn't chasing a threat, he was the threat now. Beside him ran Zara, the alien warrior he had just freed. Her hands were still chained, and blood dripped from a fresh cut on her leg. But her eyes were sharp, her movements quick. She didn't look like a prisoner anymore, she looked like a fighter. Where's your escape plan? She asked while running. Jake looked ahead. Didn't have time to make one. Zara sighed. Humans. They reached a side door. Jake typed a code. Access denied. Try again, she said. No time. Jake pulled out a small explosive from his belt and stuck it to the wall. Boom! The door blasted open. Smoke filled the hallway. Zara smiled. Now, you're thinking like a rebel. They jumped into a military jeep and drove fast into the desert. The sun was rising behind them. Dust and heat followed their trail. Back at the base, the Union officers stood in shock. He helped the prisoner escape, one of them said. The human general frowned. Commander Jake Hunter is now a traitor to Earth. Middle, unfolding. The truth 2 hours later, Jake and Zara hid inside an abandoned gas station deep in the desert. Jake was tired, his shirt soaked with sweat, hands shaking. He had just destroyed his entire career in one night. I had a home, he whispered. A life, now they'll hunt me. Zara sat beside a broken vending machine. You still have your life. Many don't. Jake looked at her. Why did they want to kill you? Zara closed her eyes. Because I saw the truth. She told him everything. The Galactic Union, the so-called peacekeepers, were not what they claimed to be. They traveled from planet to planet, pretending to offer peace. But behind the scenes, they took control quietly. They replaced leaders, built secret weapons, turned planets into slaves. I was a captain in their army, she said. But when I found the files about Earth, I refused to help them. I tried to warn others. They called me a traitor. Jake didn't speak. Zara pulled out a small chip from inside her armor. This holds the Union's plan for Earth, but it's encrypted. Only one machine can read it on a broken ship, still floating above your planet. Jake raised an eyebrow. You want me to steal a spaceship now? Yes, Zara said simply. Unless you want Earth to become their next slave world. Suspense scene. Chase begins suddenly. They heard a noise. A soft hum in the sky. Jake stepped outside and saw 2 black drones flying low, scanning the ground. One of them turned toward the gas station. Run! He shouted. The drones opened fire. Lasers hit the ground near their feet as they jumped into the jeep again. Dust flew everywhere. Jake swerved left, then right, trying to escape. Zara stood up in the back seat, aimed a small alien weapon, and fired. One drone exploded in mid-air. The second one followed them, faster than expected. Jake shouted, "Do something!" Zara climbed out and stood on the moving jeep. She waited until the drone was right behind them, and jumped. She landed on top of the drone, stabbed its core, and flipped off as it exploded in fire behind her. Jake stopped the jeep and ran to her. You okay? He asked, shocked. She nodded. Next time you fight one. Ending, building tension, they reached a cave deep in the hills. Jake used to come here during survival training. Now it became their hiding place. At night, as they sat near a small fire, Jake looked up at the stars. You were right, he said. Earth doesn't even know it's in danger. Zara looked tired but calm. Most planets don't, until it's too late. Jake asked, what happens if we fail? Zara stared into the fire. Your people will live in cities they don't control. Your skies will be watched. Your leaders will be puppets, and your children will never know what freedom means. Silence filled the cave. Jake finally spoke. Then we don't fail. He stood up and looked at the night sky. We're going to space, he said, to find that ship, to find proof, and to stop them. Zara stood beside him. Welcome to the rebellion, Commander. The ship graveyard unique start cold, and haunting space was not silent tonight. High above Earth, broken ships floated like dead fish in a dark ocean. Wreckage from old battles, burned engines, torn metal. Silent bodies frozen in zero gravity. This place was forgotten by the world below, but one ship was not dead. It was waiting. Deep inside its broken walls, a small blinking light flashed. The last secret of the Union's plan still lived here. Seen. Breaking orbit. Commander Jake Hunter gripped the controls of the stolen shuttle. His hands were tight on the wheel. His eyes stared straight ahead, even as warning lights flashed red. They were leaving Earth. Zara sat beside him, quiet and focused. Her armor was still damaged, but her voice was calm. Once we reach the wreck, we have to move fast, she said. The Union patrols this area. If they catch us, they won't ask questions. Jake nodded. Great. Just what I need. One more reason to die. The shuttle broke through the atmosphere. Fire streaked across the windows. Then sudden silence. They had reached space. Jake had seen the stars before, from the ground. But now, surrounded by them, he finally understood what it meant to be small. Zara pointed ahead. There it is, the graveyard. Dozens of dead ships floated in the darkness. Big ones, small ones. Some were human, some alien. All destroyed. Jake stared. What happened here? Rebellion, Zara said. A long time ago. The Union called it a training accident. They always lie. They drifted closer to a large ship, black wide, with Union markings almost burned off. That's the one, Zara whispered. My old ship. Seen exploring the wreck, they docked with a loud clunk. Jake grabbed his helmet. Zara checked her energy blade. Inside, the ship was cold and dark. Flashlights cut through dust and floating debris. Walls were covered in burn marks. Doors were half open, as if people had tried to escape during the last moments. Jake swallowed hard. This place gives me the creeps. Zara looked around. I served here for 5 years. They walked slowly through broken halls. A floating body bumped into Jake. He pushed it aside, heart racing. Finally, they reached a locked room. This is it, Zara said. The data vault. She opened the panel and started typing. Sparks flew. She hissed in frustration. Too damaged. I need your help. Jake knelt down beside her. I was a soldier, not a hacker. You're human. This system reads your DNA as neutral. That gives you access. Jake sighed. Fine, but if this thing shocks me, I'm blaming you. He placed his hand on the pad. The screen blinked green. Access granted. Zara smiled. Told you. Inside the vault, shelves of glowing data crystals floated in the air. Zara scanned them quickly and grabbed one. This is the proof, she said. The Union's full plan for Earth. Names, maps, dates. Everything. Jake held it carefully. We did it. Zara shook her head. Not yet. Seen. The ambush as they turned to leave. A sharp sound echoed through the ship. Footsteps. Zara grabbed Jake's arm and pulled him into the shadows. 3 Union soldiers appeared in black armor, walking slowly, scanning the area. Search the vault, one of them said. The traitor might return, Jake whispered. How did they know? Zara looked angry. Someone tracked the chip. I should have known. One soldier stopped near their hiding spot. He looked around. His hand hovered over his weapon. Then crack. A metal pipe fell from the ceiling. The sound distracted the soldier just enough. Zara struck first. She moved like lightning, knocking one soldier into the wall. Jake tackled another, barely keeping. Up. The last soldier fired a blast. It hit Jake's shoulder. He screamed, fell, dropped the data chip. Zara roared in fury, slashed through the attacker, and ran to Jake. "Stay awake," she shouted. "I'm fine," Jake gasped. "Just bleeding in space." "Totally normal." Zara helped him stand. She grabbed the chip and pulled him back toward the shuttle. Final scene. Escape and realization. They flew away just in time. Behind them, the old ship exploded. The Union didn't want any evidence left behind. Inside the shuttle, Jake lay on a bed, arm bandaged. Zara held the chip in her hand, eyes locked on it. "This is it," she said. "We now have what the Union fears. Most the truth." Jake looked at her weakly. "You think anyone will believe us?" Zara looked him in the eye. "If they don't, we make them believe." Jake sat up slowly. "We need allies. Someone who hates the Union more than we do." Zara nodded. "Then we go where the Union has no power." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Where?" Zara turned to the map. "Zekra 7, the Smuggler's Moon." The Smuggler's Moon. Unique start, shady market, shadier deals. It looked like a moon, but it smelled like trouble. Zekra 7, the Smuggler's Moon, wasn't on any official star maps. It floated just outside Union-controlled space, like a ghost wearing a neon coat. From orbit, it glowed red and purple with flashing lights. But up close, it was dirty, loud, and dangerous. Every creature here had something to sell and something to hide. Jake Hunter stepped off the ship and pulled his hood low. His shoulder still hurt from the last mission, but he walked like a man with nothing to fear. Beside him, Zara moved with silent grace, her armor covered by a long cloak. She whispered, "Don't talk. Don't stare. Don't trust anyone." Jake nodded. "That includes you?" Zara gave a small smile. "Especially me." Seen into the underworld, they walked through the main market. Metal booths lined the narrow path. Alien vendors shouted prices for weapons, poisons, fake IDs, and strange food that smelled like burnt plastic. An insect man offered Jake a glowing cube. "Fresh memories from a real pirate, only 20 credits. Jake shook his head. "No thanks, I'm trying to forget things." They turned down a dark alley. This part of the moon was older, quieter, more dangerous. Zara stopped at a rusty door and knocked 4 times. A voice crackled from a speaker. "If this is about the bounty, I'm innocent." Zara replied, "I'm not here to collect, I'm here to cash in." The door opened with a loud hiss. Inside stood a tall, green-scaled alien with robotic arms and a wide, toothy grin. "Krev," Zara said. "Still ugly, I see." Krev laughed. "Zara Velari. Still alive somehow. And who's the human?" Jake stepped forward. "The guy keeping her alive." Krev raised an eyebrow. "Brave or stupid? Probably both." Seen a dangerous deal inside Krev's hideout. The lights flickered, and everything smelled like oil and gunpowder. Krev poured drinks and threw his feet on the table. "So what brings the galaxy's most wanted war criminal to my humble hole?" Zara placed the data chip on the table. "We need to sell this. But not to just anyone. Someone with power. Someone who can spread the truth." Krev's smile faded. "You're messing with the Union. That's not just dangerous, it's death." Jake leaned forward. "We're already dead, Krev. We just want to take them down before they burn Earth." Krev picked up the chip and scanned it. His eyes widened. "You weren't joking. This is pure fire. Union war plans, black sites, Earth invasion protocols." He looked up. "This could start a galaxy-wide revolt." Jake nodded. "That's the idea." Seen the Betrayal an hour later, while Jake and Zara rested in the side room. Krev made a call. His voice was low. "I've got something the Union wants. Yes, the traitor, the human too, double bounty. You send the credits, I'll send their location. What he didn't know was that Zara was already listening. She stepped back into the room silently, holding a small blade. I should have guessed, she whispered. Scene. The fight at the spaceport. Suddenly, alarms blared across Zekra 7. Loudspeakers echoed through the market. All travelers stay in place. Union officers incoming. Jake and Zara ran through the twisting alleys, Krev's betrayal now clear. Union enforcers in black armor began landing at the docks, scanning crowds, arresting suspects. Split up, Zara said. I'll draw them away, you get to the ship. No, Jake said. We do this together. She grabbed his collar. If they catch you, they win. I've lost friends before. Don't make me lose another. Before Jake could argue, she ran into the crowd, throwing a smoke bomb behind her. Union troops followed her. Jake hesitated for one breath, then turned and ran the other way. Scene. Krev's redemption. As Jake reached the dock, a Union soldier blocked his path. The soldier raised his rifle. Bang. The shot came from behind. Krev stood there, holding a smoking blaster. He looked angry and ashamed. I didn't do it for you, Krev said. I did it because I hate the Union more than I hate myself. Jake didn't thank him, just nodded. Krev handed him a bag. The chip, take it, and tell Zara, sorry. Final scene. Escaping the moon. Jake powered up the shuttle. As it lifted off, he saw Zara sprinting across the launch pad, chased by 2 soldiers. She leapt, grabbed the open ramp, and climbed aboard just in time. They flew off into space, leaving fire and chaos behind. Inside the ship, Jake looked at her. You okay? Zara was bleeding from her side. Nothing serious. Jake handed her the data chip. We still have it. Zara took a deep breath. Then we still have a chance, Jake asked. Where to next? She answered without pause. The Voidborn. If anyone can help us fight the Union, it's them. The battle for truth. Unique start. A funeral in space. The dead do not rest on planets. They float. As the small ship passed through deep space, Jake Hunter stared out the window. A single body drifted past, wrapped in old rebel cloth, eyes closed forever. It wore the colors of a forgotten army. A soldier who once dared to say no to the Union. Zara stepped beside Jake. Her face was hard, her eyes heavy. This is where the last rebel fleet fell, she said. The Voidborn used to be thousands. Now, only shadows remain. Jake looked at her. And we're flying straight to them? Yes, she said. Because they're the only ones left who still believe in truth. Scene. Arrival at the Voidborn asteroid. They landed on an asteroid shaped like a dagger, spinning slowly in the dark. The base was hidden underground, built from stolen metal and forgotten tech. As they entered, strange lights scanned their bodies. A voice echoed, "State your purpose." Zara replied firmly, "We bring proof. We bring war." The voice paused. Then, enter. Doors opened. Inside, masked rebels stared at them, faces covered, weapons ready. The room was full of tension. One figure stepped forward, tall, cloaked in red, with a metal jaw. Captain Myrix, leader of the Voidborn. He looked at Zara with old pain. "You're the one who ran. You left us." Zara didn't flinch. "I had to. The truth was bigger than one war." Myrix turned to Jake. "And the human?" Jake stepped up. "The one who broke every law on Earth to protect her." Myrix stared for a moment. Then he said, "Show me the proof." Scene. Unleashing the truth. Zara handed over the Union data chip. Myrix plugged it into the rebel system. A hologram appeared in the air. Maps of Earth, marked with invasion dates. Names of human leaders, some already replaced. Secret bases. Mind control plans. Gasps filled the room. Myrix's voice turned cold. "They weren't just planning to take Earth. They've already started." He looked at Jake. "Your planet doesn't even know it's under attack." Jake clenched his fists. So help me stop them. Myrix paced the room. We are few, scattered. Most of our people are dead or hiding. Zara stepped forward. Then this is the time to rise again. One strike. Broadcast the truth galaxy-wide. Light the match. Silence. Then Myrix gave a sharp nod. Prepare the fleet. Scene, the first strike. The plan was dangerous. A Union communication tower on planet Therion 5 controlled all message flow in this part of the galaxy. If they could take it, they could send the truth to everyone human, alien, rebel, slave. Trained with the rebels, Zara helped him learn alien tactics. They grew closer not just as soldiers, but as something more. One night while cleaning weapons, Jake asked, "What if we win?" Zara looked up. "Then maybe I'll stop running." He smiled. "And what if we lose?" She answered, "Then we die with our eyes open." Scene, the battle begins. The rebel fleet jumped into orbit above Therion 5. Only 5 ships, but full of heart. Zara and Jake led the ground team. Explosions rocked the fields as they landed. Union bots swarmed. The area. Jake fired. Zara slashed. The rebels pushed forward. They reached the tower. A huge metal beast guarded the main door, an AI tank with glowing red sensors. Jake shouted, "How do we stop that thing?" Zara pulled a pulse bomb from her belt. "Get me 10 seconds. Jake charged across open ground, firing wildly. The tank turned its gun toward him. Zara ran behind it, planted the bomb. And dove just in time. Boom. The tank exploded in smoke and fire. Final scene. Broadcast of rebellion inside the tower. Myrix plugged in the data chip. The truth began to stream into the galaxy. Screens everywhere lit up on ships, in spaceports, on hidden rebel bases. The Union's lies were exposed. People started to wake up. But then, alarms screamed. Union reinforcements were coming. A full fleet. Zara turned to Jake. "We have 5 minutes. After that, we're surrounded." Jake looked at the spreading signal. "Then let them come," he said. "The truth is already out." Zara smiled. "You sound like a rebel now." Myrix raised a flag, the old Voidborn symbol. "All ships, prepare for full war." Outside, the sky turned red with lasers. Inside, hope was born again. Earth's countdown. Unique start. A message that never arrived on Earth. The news said nothing. People went to work. Kids went to school. Politicians smiled on TV. No one knew they were already conquered. But far above the planet, hidden in the shadow of the moon, a Union fleet waited silently, its ships cold, dark, and deadly. They were invisible to human satellites, waiting for the signal. Inside the lead ship, a single command screen showed a timer. Project Silence, activation, 48 hours. Once the countdown hit 0, Earth's satellites would fall. Cities would go dark, leaders would vanish. The world would wake up as a Union colony, unless someone stopped it. Scene, on the run again, Jake Hunter rubbed his eyes inside the Voidborn ship. He hadn't slept in 2 days. They had broadcast the truth. But it wasn't enough. The Union quickly jammed the signal, blocked the files, erased videos. Some planets believed it, but Earth didn't even receive the message. Too far. Too controlled. Zara said as she looked over the failing broadcast logs. Jake slammed his fist on the console. "We risked our lives for this." Myrix, the rebel captain, entered the room. His voice was flat. "Earth's countdown has begun. We found the activation codes buried deep in the chip." Zara leaned forward. "How long?" 2 days, Myrix replied. "Once the signal is sent, Earth goes dark." Jake stood. "Then we stop the signal." Zara raised an eyebrow. "You want to attack the Union's primary command satellite?" Jake nodded. "Yeah, why not?" Zara smirked. "Now you sound like me." Scene, the plan. The satellite command Core 09 was located above the dark side of Earth's moon. Hidden, protected, and armed. Only one ship had the speed and cloaking tech to get close. Krev's old smuggler ship. Zara had saved it before escaping. ZEK-7. They boarded it quietly. The ship smelled like burnt metal and bad decisions. Jake looked around. This thing flies? Zara replied, barely. Myrix handed them the codes. You need to get inside and upload a virus. It will shut down the countdown. You'll have 5 minutes before the station's eye catches on. Jake strapped in. What happens after 5 minutes? Zara answered. We improvise. Scene, stealth entry. The ship drifted slowly past Earth, hiding in the shadows. Jake stared down at the planet. His home. Blue, peaceful, and completely unaware it was about to fall. This is why I joined the military, he said softly. To protect people, not betray them. Zara looked at him. You're not a traitor, Jake. You're the only one doing the right thing. The satellite came into view. Black, spiked, and glowing faint red dot. Jake whispered. It looks like a spider. Zara tightened her gloves. Let's go step on it. Scene, the countdown room. They entered through a maintenance port, moving fast and quiet. Inside, the satellite felt alive. Walls hummed, lights blinked, and cameras followed every move. They reached the core chamber. In the center stood the countdown terminal showing 47 hours, 53 minutes, and 12 seconds. Zara plugged in the device. Jake kept watch, but then a robotic voice filled the room. Unauthorized presence detected. Activating response units. From the walls, 2 armored drones dropped down, weapons clicking. Jake fired first, dodging behind a pillar. Zara fought one hand-to-hand, her blade slicing through metal. Sparks flew. Time ticked. 47 hours, 53 minutes, and 1 second. 47 hours, 52 minutes, and 59 seconds. Jake shouted, We don't have 5 minutes. Zara screamed, Buy me 30 seconds. Scene, sacrifice and upload. Jake tackled the last drone, smashing it against the wall, but not before it stabbed him in the side. Blood soaked his jacket. Zara screamed his name but kept uploading the virus. The countdown paused, flickered, then reset. Project Silence terminated. They had done it, but more alarms sounded. Reinforcements were coming. Dozens. Jake coughed. We need to go. Zara dragged him out, back to the smuggler ship. Explosions followed them. Lasers blasted down the hallway. But they reached the ship just in time. The engines roared. They escaped barely, leaving the burning satellite behind. Final scene. The Earth wakes up back on the rebel base. Myrix stood before a large screen. One by one, signals came in from Earth's underground servers. Human resistance groups were waking up. Scientists found blocked files. Soldiers found real orders. Zara watched from a distance, Jake beside her, arm bandaged, weak but alive. She whispered, Earth heard the truth. Jake smiled. And it didn't sleep through it. Zara looked at the stars. We stopped the countdown. But the Union is coming. Jake stood tall. Then we make Earth ready. Hero or enemy. Unique start. Earth votes in silence. For the first time in history, Earth went quiet. No bombs. No broadcasts. No speeches. Just silence. In cities, people stared at glowing screens. Watching the message, Jake and Zara risked everything to send. Children saw Union ships hidden above their skies. Soldiers saw orders signed by fake leaders. Families saw maps of human towns marked for pacification. There were no more doubts. The question now was not, is this real? The question was, what will we do about it? Scene, Earth stands up. Rebel cells in New York, Mumbai, Cairo, and Shanghai activated old gear. Retired generals picked up their old uniforms. Civilian hackers joined rogue scientists. Old enemies became new allies. In orbit, the Union fleet moved into position. Their leader said Earth had 24 hours to surrender. But this time, Earth didn't answer with silence. It answered with fire. Scene, back with Jake and Zara. Jake sat inside the Voidborn ship, suiting up. His shoulder was still injured, but his heart burned hotter than ever. Zara entered the room in full armor. Her energy blade glowed brighter than before. She looked at him. Still breathing? Jake smirked. Barely. You? I was born ready, she said. He stood, walked over to her. You saved Earth. No, she corrected. We saved Earth, but the fight isn't over. They both turned to the window. A Union flagship, bigger than anything Jake had seen, moved into view. Zara whispered, That's the Emperor's ship. Jake blinked. I didn't know the Union had an Emperor, Zara replied. They don't. Unless they're planning something worse. Scene: final battle begins. The sky above Earth lit up with explosions. Voidborn fighters clashed with Union drones. Earth's hacked satellites began firing. Human jets launched from secret runways. Jake and Zara led a strike team toward the enemy flagship. Their ship dodged missiles, weaved through debris, and slammed into the enemy hangar. Inside, it was chaos. Union troopers everywhere. Zara moved like lightning, slicing through armor. Jake used human weapons, more primitive, but deadly in his hands. Together, they fought like they were born to. Scene: the heart of the ship. They reached the core control room. One last barrier stood between them and the Union's final command center. Inside, the Union AI control nexus, a glowing machine that controlled all the other ships. Jake stepped forward. If we shut this down, Earth wins. Zara nodded. But once we enter, there's no going back. Jake looked at her. I'm not going back anyway. They charged in. Inside, the AI spoke in a smooth, cold voice. Zara Villari, Jake Hunter. You are labeled as enemies of order. Prepare for elimination. Robotic guards attacked. The battle was fast, brutal. Jake was thrown to the floor, pinned by a heavy droid. Zara screamed his name and rushed in, slicing the droid apart, but not before it hit her with a plasma blast. She fell to one knee, smoking, armor cracked. Jake crawled to the central terminal. His voice weak. How do I kill this thing? Zara gasped. The core behind the panel. He opened the panel. Red lights flashed. A countdown began. The AI had activated a final failsafe. Self-destruct in 60 seconds. Seeing the choice, Zara tried to stand but collapsed. Jake ran to her. You can't move, he said. You're too hurt. She handed him the blade. Finish the job. Jake looked at the panel. He had one option. Disable the core manually, but it required someone to stay behind. He looked at Zara. She looked back. No speeches, just go. He shook his head. Then he smiled, placed the blade in her hand, and kissed her forehead. No more running. He turned, walked to the core, and began the shutdown. Zara screamed, Jake, no! He looked back one last time. Tell Earth, I wasn't the enemy. The door closed. Scene: explosion and silence outside. The flagship exploded in a ball of fire. Union ships across the sky lost power. Some crashed. Others fled. The Voidborn cheered. Earth was safe, but Zara didn't speak. She just stared at the fireball where Jake had been. Final scene: legacy weeks. Later. Earth rebuilt. The Union retreated from the galaxy. Zara walked alone through a new rebel base, now a peace center. Children ran past her. People saluted her. They whispered her name with respect. In the center of the hall, a statue stood. Jake Hunter, holding a Union data chip in one hand and reaching toward the stars with the other. A plaque read, he was called a traitor, but he was Earth's first true defender. Zara placed a hand on the cold stone and whispered, you didn't die a hero. You lived like one. Then she turned away, her blade now at her side. Not for revenge, but for protection. The war was over, but the stars still held secrets, and she would be watching.